Thank you guys all for coming to the Central Alberta Real Estate Investor Network. So this is Carl, and I'm Bryce, and we actually have another couple sponsors who have sponsored the Central Alberta Real Estate Investor Network. So we have Ask Environmental, who actually did some of the asbestos testing in this property. And then we have Postma Electrical. They are one of our silver sponsors. And then we just got Tim Blake, who is another silver sponsor. Now, Tim Blake is a hard money lender, so we actually used him to purchase this building. We borrowed $1.56 million. Who wants to guess the interest rate that we're paying? 15%, 14.5% interest. So why would you ever pay that much interest in a property? Because you can buy a 27-unit building for 50 cents on the dollar. So we literally bought this property at half price. So Carl's been working on this property. He tried getting it 2.5 years ago. He had it under contract for $700,000 back in the day. We ended up paying 2.5 years later, $2,075,000. But the property, after we finished our renovations, is worth $4 million. So Carl and I, he messaged me one day, he's like, hey, we should go for coffee. I'm like, yeah, let's go for coffee. And he brought this deal, and he had all the numbers. He had his engineer check out the property, because this property had a demolition order on it. And because Carl had already had an engineer check out the property, we knew there was nothing wrong structurally with it. And then we purchased the property. So we're gonna start here, and then we're gonna kind of take some questions as we go along. Then we're going to tour. We're gonna go out that door. We're gonna go down the hall, but feel free to poke your heads in, look at the different unit structures you can see on the wall. Because it was funny, Carl took all the doors off because we're replacing all the doors. And then people were like, oh, which unit is which unit? And so you can see all the renovations that we're doing on each door. So if you have questions about that. And then we're going to go to the top floor corner unit, because that's where most of the renovations have already happened. So any questions, feel free to ask, because yeah, questions are really good. Carl?
So a couple things I want to kind of go over. First off, safety side of things. We do have a muster point, and the only reason I bring this up is because I am the main contractor, so we have to let you guys know. If something happens, muster point out here. Everybody just head out one of the two doors. We'll all meet back here. Bathroom is just at the back there. Keep in mind it is a construction site, so it's not clean, and we tidied up as best we could, but please keep that in mind. As you're walking through the hallways, you won't hit anything if you're my height, but if you're your guys' height, watch the light fixtures. You'll have to do some weaving and bobbing just so you don't hit your head. For safety reasons, up on the third floor, we are doing electrical. We're going to look at the property, so we put some lights up so you could see. Just because we got wire pulled, I didn't want to energize and have somebody touch something and get themselves hurt. So other than that, I'll let Bryce take it back here, and I'll answer any questions you guys got during, before, after. Feel free to come ask me. And
because he's the builder, he's the private builder.
If I was going to also say, if you're a contractor, you're going to kind of come up into some of the areas and be like, why are they putting the floor in already, and why is the plumbing open? And there's a reason behind that. We have 20 staff, and when you started diving into a place, we actually got locked out by occupational health and safety on day one. They shut us down. We didn't have the proper paperwork for the asbestos reporting. Rules and things changed in December. We don't get the memos unless we're actually actively involved with checking up on asbestos. So we got shut down, worked outside, so I had 20 guys working on the rock. You can see all the rock details done across the front of the building. When we got in, it was basically trying to stage 20 guys everywhere. So you'll see that we've got flooring in some units, painting in some units, the plumbing's ripped open in others. The goal is to get the plumbers ahead of everybody else, the electricians ahead of everybody else, then the mutters and tapers follow behind, then we can paint. So as you see the first couple of units, be like, wow, we're all over the map here. But there's method to the madness at this point in time. And I'm hoping that Bryce has another tour in a couple months, so then you guys can actually see the evolution of what this starts out with and what the finished product is. So we're hoping to have the first units available January 1st. So
yeah. This building's been vacant for 7 years. All the copper was stolen, and so that's why the shiny copper is new. But when we go down to the underground parking, you'll see a lot of local artwork. So we'll have to pick our favorites.
Isn't it only like a few units that were actually used? Like, I thought it was vacant longer than that, with just like a couple like long-term tenants that were in it.
Yeah, we're not sure the full story.
Pretty sure it was.
So what I had heard is it wasn't. It was actually a frozen water line in the other entrance, or the boiler line. They didn't have glycol. It was just a hot water. The tenant left the door open. It bursted, so they evacuated all the tenants out.
Okay.
And to my understanding, that was 7 years ago. And then from there,
I think there was only a couple units at that time. Like, because I came in actually this unit like when I was 16, so many years ago. And I'm from here, and then I left for 20 some years, and then just seeing this building has irked me forever because it's just sat here vacant, and we have nowhere to live in town, or there's no vacancies. And it's really nice to see that something is happening with it. But I'm pretty sure that only a couple units were even lived in. I've been back here for like close to 9 years, and it wasn't full by any means.
over the 7 years, we've had squatters stay here.
Yeah, we have 24/7 security. So like, obviously there's people on site, but then we have security that they can do some light demolition work while they're doing security. So now we're not just paying for security, we also get labor out of them too. So that was Carl's genius idea. I thought that was great. But one day, do you want to tell them the story?
Well, when Occupation House kicked us out, I just told the guys just to stay on the road and just kind of keep an eye on things. If you see anybody, report it. Well, they chased off some teenagers, and then they jumped back into their car, and some teenagers' big brothers or dads got a little ticked off and came up the street, smashed out the window, started punching them through the window, and it turned into a whole Grand Theft Auto scenario. And I never thought it would happen in the town of Innisfail, but I even came out after they called me. I'm like, call the police, get them there. So when I got out here, the police had gone. And then I was like, I'm just going to take a tour around here just to see if anything's up. So I took a tour around, and they called me, they're behind us, they're behind us. I was like, just drive down the road. So they came down the road that way. I came this way, blocked the guy off, and basically had to back up. And yeah, it was a chase through town until the police caught up. And yeah, little town in Innisfail has lots of action. So
Should put that on tape.
yeah. Yeah, so.
Okay, so we are going to head out the hall, and we will go all the way to the end, and then we'll take the staircase going to the very top floor, and then we're going to go to the opposite corner, and we'll go up there. But let's have a tour.
What are you changing with the plumbing?
Plumbing, basically they wanted, because we had dual handles, by code we have to have a single handle,
Yeah.
or we have to regulate the boiler and the heating system at a constant 59 degrees, I think it is. So to stop that, we basically just agreed with the plumbing inspector to pull out the tubs, change out the plumbing, so it's a single handle lever. And then we're putting a washer dryer unit in each unit as well, so roughing all that in as well.
What about electrical?
Electrical, same thing. We got to change everything to a 20 amp service in the kitchen. And then they want all the breakers changed out.
AFCIs everywhere?
Yep. And then they didn't call us on any of the fire detection systems, but just basically changing out the panels, upgrading the panels, and putting that 20 amp service in the kitchen to... When we kind of set this whole thing up, there's a firewall that you guys came through halfway through the building with the fire doors. So basically this side is classified as one complex, that side's classified as the other. We had to fight with the building inspectors and fire inspectors, but we were able to pull code from 1973 and pull code from basically, I think it's 2023 or 2017, compare them all, show them the results. They ended up backing down, not making us have to run sprinkler systems, so we saved ourselves 200-some thousand by having that firewall. So
There's a lot of opinion with inspectors. It's not always...
It is,
Sometimes you got to do your homework a little bit.
and that's what it boiled down to, is we had to really dig in and hire the engineer to kind of dig into the numbers and dig into the surfaces.
That's
And
how you control costs.
Yeah.
You just listen to what inspectors want to see. You get into trouble.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, we ultimately doing this whole side, we do top down. That way the dust and the construction is all staying down. So once we get this whole level up to the fire section done, that's when we can start renting them out. The goal is to have all the common areas done and then these first 4 units. And then, like I said, January 1st, start renting them out. We'll be down on the 2nd floor. Tenants here won't even know that there's construction going on anymore outside, what's outside there, right? So.
And then whenever you're buying an older building, sometimes they make you do upgrades to code. And so one of the ones we were worried about was, are they going to make us put a fire suppression system or sprinklers in here? But Carl found a firewall in the middle, and we're like, oh yeah, it goes straight down the middle, it's perfect. But then he's looking in the door, he's like, wait a second, there's a kitchen on the other side of this door. We're like, oh crap. Yeah. But then
yeah, so the firewall comes from the front here, it stops at the in the hallway, and then goes this way 11 feet, and then goes this way. So I'm like, oh no, we're screwed. But I crawled up through the attic, and I was prepared to build a firewall in that one unit all the way up to the top, open up the roof, redesign it just so we didn't have to involve a sprinkler system. $30,000 for redesigning trusses and building a firewall, or $200,000 for a sprinkler system, right? So we didn't have to do that. We got lucky.
They did make us upgrade the electrical panels, so we still have to do that. And then the plumbing, like your bathroom tap, you've got your hot and your cold. They're making us turn it into a single lever. But what's nice about that is we have to replace all the tub surrounds. And so now Carl's gonna do tile tub surrounds all the way through, white subway tile.
Downside with doing tile is that you have to do that yearly maintenance. You have to go in, you have to reseal, you have to redo silicone. Tenants don't do that, so it's always good to have a full one-piece tub. But in units like this, there's just no way you can weasel that tub around the corners without ripping all the walls down. So the solution is once a year we go in, do a service call, seal all the grout, check the seal lines, and we know we're good for another year, right?
Money well spent. Water and mold most damaging. Yeah, absolutely.
100%. So.
That's smart.
And then so how we raised the capital for this deal, like obviously we purchased it for $2,075,000. We need to put 25% down. So I texted our hard money lender, and within 48 hours he had an approval for us. Didn't have to send any paperwork, you just text and it's like, yep, here's your approval. And so then we had to raise capital. So we needed 1.64 million in order for the down payment, all the holding costs, lawyers, everything. And so we went to work raising the capital for 1.64 million, and in about 10 days we raised 1.5. And that was enough because we had raised all the money and all the holding costs, but it's going to take 12 months for renovations. So we don't actually need all of the money. So we ended up getting 1.2 million, and then we were able to purchase the building with the 25% down. We had about 400,000, 500,000 left over in the bank to pay for renovations. We spend $18,000 a month just in interest. So that's about $1,000 a day to own this building. And then asbestos.
Yeah, the asbestos shut us down for about 2 weeks. For the most part, I was already compliant. I had all the paperwork in order, but I did my own testing, and December says that now you have to hire a hygienist who's got minimum bachelor's something, and they have to do the testing. Then we have to write a report. Then we have to write a procedure on how to deal with it and have everything in place and ready to go. So there was a really steep learning curve for me because I'm a smaller guy and taking on a bigger crew. It was a very steep learning curve, but lesson learned, and we're ready for the next one. OSHA's working well with us and they get along with us great now. And
what's cool is because Carl is a builder, he went and got himself certified and 2 other people certified to do asbestos removal. So instead of spending a couple $100,000 doing asbestos remediation, we're doing it for less than $30 an hour.
That's a good deal.
for the most part, we already knew where the asbestos issues are. We know that, laminate glue is an issue. We know drywall is an issue. We know texture is an issue. When you get into a renovation, a lot of times we try and stay away from that as much as possible. I'll go in and seal all those spots with an oil-based primer. We put the subfloor down right over top of the old existing laminate so we don't have to deal with the asbestos. But when OSHA gets called, they don't care. They want to know everything's in place and everything's proper, just in case. And like I said, we don't normally deal with the asbestos because we stay away from it. And if we do have it, I know how to properly remediate it and deal with it. But just saying you know how to do it and having it properly documented, 2 totally different things. So.
Yeah, well, and there's different methods for dealing with it too. There's encapsulation, which is what you're talking about, just keeping it contained, and then there's full removal and disposal with certifications and all that kind of mess. Where did they find the asbestos?
They found it mainly in our drywall, so all your drywall seams,
Tapes.
and then basically the about 50% of the laminate glue. Not all of it. Like they did probably 130 tests, and only about 30 of them came back with asbestos inside the or vermiculite, whatever they call it, in the actual glue itself. So
When it comes in too, there's different concentrations, but they essentially say even a little bit, you have to do the whole deal. Doesn't matter the percentage, right?
so yeah, we have it.
Handled that quite well.
Yeah, and we have it fully documented. So I don't know if you saw it on the microwave. In there, we have a safety book with all the where everything was, pictures of where the area they tested and what it had there. So if you were to take that safety book and go into one of the rooms, Unit 309 has it here and here, so they can come in and say, okay, we don't touch that and we don't touch that. We stay away from it. As long as you're not disturbing it, it's not an issue. As soon as you start rustling it up and become a dust and it becomes airborne, that's when it becomes the issue. So.
And then financing. So after we're finished our renovations, the property is going to be worth $4 million. So we're buying this property with 5% down. We are going to use a product called MLI Select, with CMHC came out with it. And you have to score 100 points in order to get 50-year amortization with 5% down. We're aiming for a 45-year amortization with 5% down. So just yesterday and today, we were talking with a lady who does an environmental test, or
Green energy evaluation is what she does. So she comes in and tests the entire building for air leakage and whatever tests they do for heat loss. And they do a pre-test, and then we go in and do our renovations, and then they come back and do another test. And if we meet certain standards, we get the points for it. So.
Do they have to do that on the whole building though?
No, they'll just do certain area, like they'll test it. She doesn't have to do the entire building. She'll make the assumption that, however many tests, same as the asbestos guys, they do so many tests, and based on the averages, that's where you're kind of sitting at. So, and then from there, she sits down with us and says, you need to do this, you want to do this, you have to do this. So she'll give us, half a different dozen options to get us to that 40% or whatever we need for qualifications. So.
But then you can move your tenants in and start, because it won't happen until the building's totally finished, correct? Yeah.
So essentially it's a point system, correct? A certain level of affordability, a certain level of environmental performance.
Exactly.
Right.
So we ran all of our numbers conservatively. We did 40% of our units as affordable, and so affordable is under $1,000. Well, we can get more than 1,000. So it works out that every unit that we cannot have affordable increases the value of our building by $60,000. So we can spend a little bit extra on windows and appliances because it's not going to be $60,000 to do that, which is crazy. How we come up with the math for that is we can basically get about $500 more per month, which is $6,000 a year. And then using the 10X rule, it's worth $60,000, which is a conservative approach here in Central Alberta.
How many dumpsters did you use for cleanup?
Yeah.
You were asking.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen the dumpster out back there. It's a 40-yard dumpster, and that's the biggest one you can get. And it's like a tandem truck type style, big sucker, and we've done 10 loads so far. And I'm guesstimating we'll probably do 17 by the time we're done. So
I think I said 21 on the original guest video. So. Yeah, my wife was in there too, around 15.
By the time we do the basement and do the renovations and have a little bit of garbage, like most of the demolition's done now. The night crew's been awesome. They've been, 2 days per unit type thing. So they just hammered on the demolition, but they can't throw it out at 2 in the morning. So the day guys throw it out the window and the night guys bring it into the room. So if you look on any one of the levels, the second unit from the end is their dumpster units. So all the garbage goes in there, and yeah.
How has feedback been with the neighborhood? Has it been positive, negative? Any Karens coming up in here?
We've had a few Karens. We've had a lot of positive feedback in the neighborhood too. We've had so many people walking by, stopping and talking and just saying, great to see it's finally coming around. So as many negative, there's twice as many positive, so I can't complain on the community at all.
Or they have a waiting list of tenants. It's crazy. And so we're doing all new windows, all new patio doors, all new siding, all new decks. So it's basically going to be brand new. It's cool.
And we're going with some pretty cool colors. We're contrasting with light gray creams for stucco, dark gray hardy board, and then white to contrast with all their flashing in our regal railing and stuff. So we're going to have some really nice contrasting colors, and then the light tone grays for the rock. Showing Bryce the pictures of the colors that I kind of picked, and he seemed to like it too. So.
Is it fair to say that most of the work is cosmetic? Is there major work done on the mechanical systems besides the swap to glycol? Like, are you changing layouts or anything like that, or anything structural?
No, the main structure thing that we're changing is because there is no access to the back. So down on the main floor where the firewall is, there's a 2-bedroom on this side. So we're actually changing that to a 1-bedroom and creating a walkway so that we have access to the outside. But other than that, we're running plumbing, washer dryers to each of the units. So that's kind of a major thing. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward stuff. It's a lot of cosmetic, and I really truly thought it'd be a lot worse than what it was. Walking through when we first started here and the dumpster on the inside that it was, I was a little overwhelmed, but once we got her cleaned out and we started breaking down the tasks, it's starting to come together nicely now. So.
And one of the things I like about Carl is he does take new workers and he teaches them, which is like pretty cool. It's a lot more work on his part. And I mean, if I had to hire this out, like we're spending $1 million on renovations. It would be twice that much if I hired a normal builder. So that's
Prime example right here. This is an inexperienced mudder. And teach them how to do patch jobs. Yeah. I would never let that fly even with a beginner. So I walked in and saw that. Not so much that one, but just the gapping. I teach these guys how to make it tight. And to me we can fix that. We can confill that and tape it off, but it's one of those, you teach the guys to do it properly and then you leave them for an hour, you come back and you're like, oh my God. And take it all apart. And you look next door there, I wasn't there to kind of help with the flooring because I was running back and forth. Came in there today and you can see how this one's nice and smooth. I left them over there and you can see where the 4 sheets went down. I'm like, oh my God, all this has to come out, you guys. So that was a conversation just before we started here. I'm like, we'll deal with it tomorrow. Turn the lights off so nobody can see it. We'll fix it tomorrow. So it does have it when you have young green guys like that. Awesome, we're getting them into the trades because we don't have enough trades guys. I think they're saying 100,000 shortage that we're having now. To be able to bring the young people in and be motivated to do that, that's awesome. And you're going to have learning curves. I mean, you got green guys that are going to screw up.
They want to be taught, and they're affordable. So not only are you helping them, you're helping yourself. So you're doing the right thing. It's a lot more work, but it's going to benefit you and it benefits the community as a whole, right? So.
One scary story I can share with new guys is, and it's my own kid, so he's 19, fresh out of school, wants to learn the trades. I had him in spraying the walls. Told him, take all the covers off, make sure that they're all off. Don't worry about taping, we're replacing them. He's spraying away, and I think everything's good. I come in and check. He's taking the main panel off, where there's the 60 amp service behind it, and he's spraying with a water-based paint just like it's nothing. And I'm like, oh man, so shut it all down, everybody come down. And simple stuff like that, that's just common sense, but to the young generation, they don't know any different, so I can't even yell at them. It's kind of like...
all the wires are insulated, it's strong.
Except for that little piece about this that ties into the nodes, Yeah, so... And I mean, he was spraying right up, and he was spraying just barely spraying the breakers and coming back, so he was like half inch away from a very, very, very rude awakening. Nobody will forget that one. Yeah, I let everybody have it at that point in time. So,
Well, it's good. There's a science to that. When you take someone aside who made a mistake like that, who has good intentions, it's a great learning opportunity for everybody. When you do it professionally, the whole crew benefits.
Exactly. And that's why we created that, I call it the war room, the coffee room down there, so that we can have those meetings and open book. I don't get mad at anybody. You guys tell me what you don't like about me. I'll tell you where you guys have made some mistakes. We all learn at the same time, so I'm teaching 15 students at the same time, so.
And he makes challenges with them too that he's purposely going to lose. So what's one of the challenges that you had them do? And the reward is if they beat the boss, they get free pizza.
Yeah, there was a few of them outside on the rock detail that, I can't even many offhand. I always use the one that you never want the fat old guy to be showing up to, the 19-year-old. So I'll pack up 3 sheets and they'll all be dragging like 1 sheet because they don't have the muscles. Like, come on, guys, you got to keep up. But yeah, I have all kinds of little challenges like that. It's like, you can lay 10 boxes. I get you only bet 9. You only do 9, and then I'll get everybody in. He says he can do 10. I think he's only going to do 9. Who's in? So same with the number of bins. I've asked a lot of guys. All right, how many bins are we going to fill here? So let's see who's closest. So I like playing games like that. Keeps them.
Well, they like that too.
Yeah. So yeah.
Questions?
Did you get any grants for younger workers?
No, I haven't. And to me, I'd rather know I'm getting somebody who wants to be in the trade. I don't worry about the grants. I mean, it's more paperwork than it's worth. And a lot of times, it's just not worth it. So I start them all at the same wage, prove yourself, and I scale them up as fast as they want to learn. So I don't need any grants.
Getting grants for unwilling workers.
Do you apprentice these guys?
I have, so I own a solar company as well where I have a master electrician. So we can apprentice at the electrical. We have a plumber that we contract out that we can actually do the plumbing as well. And then I have my journeyman carpentry. So we've got 3 trades that they can actually journeyman and apprentice under. So again, we have to make sure that they're the right state of mind. I'm not just going to offer that service to anybody. But we've got about 5 of them that are right now that are.
There is a good program for apprentices where you can get a big chunk of their wages covered.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I'd be interested in hearing that.
I use that when I had my concrete company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and for me, again, it's one of those things, I'll pay for their education, but then they got to sign another year contract with me. So it's a win-win for both of us. And they're making me money, so I really don't care again. But I mean, if you're talking most of their wages, hell, I'm in for that. That's right. Yeah. So definitely.
I still can find the contract.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how do you maintain your schedule? Like if you said it was 12 months, how do you maintain that? Because once you start opening stuff up, you're gonna find something else.
We always started out as it takes about 2 to 2.5 weeks to do a unit. And then as I dive into it and I start dissecting and I open up a Pandora's box, where can I make that up? A lot of times I'm working 7 days a week when nobody else is around on a Saturday or Sunday. I'm in here fixing those Pandora boxes so that we can kind of maintain that 2 to 3 week time frame. So, yeah. So, I mean, as the boss, I work, like I said, I go until I burn out and then I take a day off. And it's usually during the week when I've had too many questions. And then the next day I'm fully juiced again and good to go. So, yeah, it's all about time frames, years and years, knowing it's 2.5 weeks to do a unit, calculate that out. And then as the Pandora's open.
Well, that's key, right? Rock and a hard place. Yeah. You have the X number of work done, we're a little bit behind. Where's that going to come from? Yeah. Fortunately, usually the boss is back.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
That's where project planning comes into place. When you use conservative numbers, you have a conservative schedule, you stick to that, you build in a little bit of time for mistakes and things that you're bound to find. Yep. You can reasonably make that up without sinking the project, right? And as long as you're upfront, you're constantly adjusting that, it can absolutely work out. Yeah. But with older buildings like that, it's definitely a risk that you need to take care of in the project planning stage. Absolutely.
There's a lot, like I said, when we weren't allowed to actually come in and physically see the building other than the one visit I did 2.5 years ago. I think we got in one more time after that, but then he was like, nobody's allowed in because he's afraid the town was going to come in and see what was going on and shut him down. So nobody's allowed in. So we basically had to write the offer, unconditional, without sightseeing. And then we had this lien and basically demo or repair where we had to have building inspectors go through, electrical inspectors, plumbing. So we had all these conditions and it's like, I don't know what to expect. So when we got in here and like I said, went through with the electrical guy and he's like, oh yeah, we're going to change this, and this. I'm like, okay. Then the plumber came in, he's like, I'd really like to see that, but if you don't, you can do this. I'm like, well, what do you want? He's like, I want to see that. Okay.
So what about stuff like lead times for say windows and cabinetry? And
I work with Rona. Rona's been really good to me for the last 4 or 5 years. I work with their outside sales and their senior kind of upper management, so I don't really work at the store level. So we kind of get bumped in a lot of ways, and we only use stuff that's in their distribution, so stuff that they carry. So light fixtures, taps, tubs, everything they have in stock, so it's only ever a week away for us. And I also have a shop on the north end of Red Deer where I stock 100 of each of the items that we have. So whenever I need it and I can't get it, I can pull from my stock and pull from it. The worst one I would have to say right now is the windows. We got the first wave of patio doors in 2.5 weeks. So Rona had used their buying power to go to them and say, we have a client, we want this for this amount and this time frame. They met it. Now we're in the second wave of windows and we're 2 weeks out for it. So it's all about who you know in the industry and working with them and creating that relationship. And once you have that relationship, holding on to it, it can be a powerful tool when it's waiting on services. And
that's a great tip too, because you go to a smaller supplier, maybe your pricing is a little bit different. But you go to these big box stores, you get a lot more capital, and if you talk to the right people, they're all under massive pressure as employees to build their contractor base because it's steady work. So with the buying power, a lot of them want to convert that. So sometimes it's a little bit of playing between big box stores, local guys. Of course, you want to support the local guys. Sometimes even local manufacturers, but you got to find that balance. So if you go to some of these big box stores, myself, a small contractor, we'll give you 2.5%. What's that, right? Oh, I'm buying this. Oh, all of a sudden, right? Oh, and we have this on special. Okay, sometimes you get 10, 20, 30, 40% off, depending on what you're doing. But you have to know exactly the technical specifications of what's required. A lot of what they sell isn't necessarily high-end stuff. So you have to know what you're doing. You have to speak with the right people, and you're able to do that. But big box stores managers are pretty hungry for that type of work. They get internal promotions based on increasing that work. So
if you ever get into the building side of things, look for the outsides. If you deal with Home Depot or you deal with Rona or you deal with home building experts, find out who their outside sales are. They're based off of that percentage brought in. So they're very, very hungry, and they bring in the sales from the outside. They'll take your business and they'll fight for you bottom dollar. You go to the pro desk on any one of these places, you're just the number. But those outside sales guys are really, really hungry. So
they have the pricing power. They work on it.
Exactly. And they're higher than a lot of the pro desk guys. A lot of the managers, they're kind of like their own team that handles a lot of those prices. So they are right in with top CEOs and whatnot. So they can go to them and say, I got a guy that needs 50 of these over the next 6 months. What can we do? They'll make that price very, very, very competitive. So.
Well, that's good with the windows, because I know I was at 6 to 8 weeks getting windows in a couple places.
Generally.
Yeah, that's where I kind of use that leverage and put my foot on the Rona throat and say, hey, I need X amount now. You can do the rest when you need to, but I need this many now. And they can usually come around for me. So
We got the cities coming to check out the place because they have to, I can't remember why they're coming. Something about
it's been sitting empty for so long. They're all kind of curious. The whole town of Innisfail's kind of like, what's going on? We see rock going on. What's going on? So we offered an invite. So they're coming in tomorrow afternoon, and I think there's like 19 of them coming.
Wow.
So like the clerk at the front desk is coming to check this out. So it's all curiosity. Ask same kind of questions you guys are asking, and make sure that they've got the right people doing what we're doing.
It'll be interesting how many were instrumental in getting this deal done for you guys once it's all done.
Yeah.
It'll be all done.
Of course.
Yeah, 100%, right? So.
I have a question. How do you deal with the inspectors? Because sometimes one inspector is saying one thing, another inspector is saying another thing. Like,
so each municipality has their own inspector. So Red Deer has their own set of inspectors, and then the jurisdictions will either use Superior or And so once you get to know those inspectors, because I'm mainly in the building side of things, so I know the building inspectors really well. So Jim here in town, he was new to me, but because I knew the other two guys, we just kind of hit it off instantly. So he's really good to work with. As long as you know what you're doing and you respect them, they're pretty good to deal with. I mean, electrical, plumbing, same thing. Everybody knows everybody. It's a small community in central Alberta, so all the inspectors know each other, all the companies know each other. So
And if they don't like you, they can make it very difficult.
There's a
And if
lot.
they like you, they can be extremely reasonable and a little bit, reasonable with interpretations of code, because code is an interpretation, especially when you're working on an older building. What's grandfathered in, what's not, what makes sense from a safety perspective, what makes sense from a purely paperwork perspective. You've got to balance that out. So one of the most important relationships is with the inspector, absolutely. Whether an inspector likes you can cost you tens or hundreds of thousands, and that's just the truth.
Might be a silly question. Why did you keep the balconies?
Why do we keep the balconies? I think it's more of an aesthetics thing than anything. Also, the trusses, the joists are all tied into the actual floor itself. So there'd be a lot more work involved, and I'd have to change it so it's just a window. When it comes down to a cost factor and marketable side of it,
It's much more rentable.
exactly, when you have a deck, 100%. So, and I mean, cost-wise, it's like $2,000 to change out the deck, and it's about, well, with the window and changing everything over, you're looking about $2,000 to swap it out, right? So that's kind of the process.
It's already there, even if you're planning on taking it away, it's sometimes more expensive to do that.
One thing I did think when I started in on this and looking at the decks is if in the daylight you can see a lot of rot and a lot of decay. But when I started digging into it and started pulling off the soffit and looking underneath, it is literally just the outside beam. So it's a lot of just peeling off one beam. And yeah, it's a pain in the butt to pull 100 nails, but then you slap on a new one, put on some new plywood, and away you go. And it'll make the whole front facade and the back facade just pop when we're done, right? So.
Yeah, it's a mix of 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 1 bedrooms, which is pretty cool. No studios.
All of the ceilings you're saying texture?
Yeah, 100%. Again, not that there's any asbestos in it, but it's one of those things, if you oil base and spray that and trying to peel that off after the fact. Yeah, so we actually sealed, exactly. We sealed this off with an oil-based primer. It's done. There's a couple spots that we'll need to do some repairs, but the first initial thing is get it sealed off so that if there's any kind of dangerous contaminant, it's now blocked in. Nothing can harm my staff and harm anybody that might be coming in, so.
Is it then going to become an issue if there's, say, like water leakage from the floor above?
We haven't seen any damage spots. There's actually one unit, I think it's his first unit after the stairs on the other end. They had some roof damage, came down into the main unit, but that's already been stripped down. A little bit of roof damage below, but as long as you fix the damage, that's where it's starting point. That oil-based blocker, it seals off everything. You don't see the stains, and as long, I mean, if it's obviously damaged, you cut it out, you repair it, you seal it, and then you texture it and seal it again, and then you're good to go. So.
Yeah, because the number one reason why people stop being landlords is they treat the property like their home. So if there is a gap, it's like right there, it's not perfect, but at the end of the day, it is just a rental, and most of you probably didn't even notice that until I pointed it out.
That's a good lead into water damage. Every problem I've ever, I guess you've seen this too, every problem I've ever run into, it deals with water. Generally, it's 90% of the problem.
90% of
So I
problems.
see you guys are putting in laundry in every suite. Are you planning on putting a pan in or drain pans or anything like that? Or is there a requirement for that? Or is that
There's not a code that I'm aware of for that. I mean, the plumber hasn't said anything to me. And if we did have to do that, there's really no way to tie it into the units below. So if there is water damage, that's also why we use this fiber rock. This fiber rock is water repellent, so you could dump a pail of water on it and it would just sit there for the next 12 to 14 hours before it slowly started seeping in. So having that fiber rock is like a water barrier. We also have the cement underneath, which is a water barrier. If we're gonna have a blowout, hopefully the tenants will let us know.
Well, and you want products that don't support mold growth. There's a big difference between an active water leak and an old water leak.
Exactly.
If there's an active water leak, or if there's active mold growing, that's one thing. If it's mold that stopped growing because of a previous leak, that's a completely different thing. So what you're talking about is a best practice, and it is code in certain jurisdictions, but to my knowledge, it's not code here, and that would be a massive cost factor. So best practice doesn't necessarily mean code.
Exactly, and I mean, it comes into that grandfather and working with your plumbing inspector. Is he going to demand it? Yeah, he probably could if he really wanted to, and demand it. It costs us thousands of dollars as we jackhammer every unit to put one in just to accommodate that water. But if it came down to that, we'd make that decision. Laundry facilities in the same spot it was before, abandoned it, it's just storage now. We would have made that decision, but the inspector didn't call us on that and say we needed it, so we moved forward. And again, like he said, it's all about the product. This fiber rock, I mean, you pay more for it, but the quality behind it and the flooring that we're using, it's a glue down product. We get a tenant that's bad with cats, or they don't use a mop and pail, they'll dump the 10 5-gallon pails and squeegee everything. This I kind of brought into because I have a lot of tenants that are that's how they clean, that's all they know, right? So this kind of fixes it. It doesn't swell up. You put the regular subfloor and they throw a 5-gallon pail on there, you're replacing floor every time they move out, right? So this actually stops all that issues. So
I was talking mostly future headaches, not code requirements, more just future headaches for yourself.
Yeah, there's certain little tips and tricks that you can incorporate too. I won't give any of mine away. But there's other things that you can do internally when you're building these things to make sure that if you do have something like that, it's either limited, contained, or most importantly, noticed. A lot of times you'll have a water leak, no one notices it till it starts to smell. By that time, it could have creeped 20 feet away. Water will find the lowest level in an older building like this. This person could have a leak in the kitchen, you can see water damage next door. So there's a couple things you can do at that stage to make sure that if there is a leak, it's going to be visible right away so you can address it right away.
Yeah.
What's your, like, how long, what's the investment plan for this? Like, are you renting it forever, or is it a rent for a period of time and flip, or what's the?
Yeah, we're gonna keep it forever.
They're young, babies.
Yeah, his daughter is a property manager. So part of our partnership was his daughter gets to do all the property management. He also gets all the management contract. So it's awesome.
I figure eventually I'm going to be too old to actually do the renovation side of it, so then I get to tinker by changing out the toilet and fixing a hose and changing a door. I can do that when I'm 65 and 70.
Well, you'll have an army of apprentices that will be their kids.
Yeah, so.
Plus, you don't want to drive by this and go, I used to own that.
Yeah.
You want to say, oh, I own that.
That's right.
Yeah. At least that's what
Sweet. Well, we can go down, check out the underground parking, and then we'll go back to the first room where the snacks were. And we can continue to mingle. Local artwork. The best artwork is at the very far end.
In the shadows.
Turn up the heat, yeah, sorry. We have, so this is all gonna be storage units.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna block those off and yeah, it'll be fun. And then it has 2 entrances, so we're gonna keep this entrance. We're gonna block off that one because you don't really need 2 doors and then 2 control panels. And
But the plan is to eventually make it functional again as an arcade.
yes, yeah. And then I think we can charge like $40 per parking stall, which then increases. And then I think we're having 17 storage units, which will be fun. Because the number one reason why tenants move is because they run out of storage. It's like, oh.
And then my other.
That would be 6 feet would be about here, so that would be 6'6" there, right?
Oh, wow.
You'd never get a pickup truck down here.
That's what I said as soon as we walked down here.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no trucks down here.
Yeah.
So there's no, like, I don't even know if this is a thing engineering-wise to, like, jackhammer out the slab.
We're actually taking out the entire slab next year, and we're flattening it out, and then we're putting the radiant heat in it.
Oh, nice.
And then that way we have a heated surface, and then we'll report.
The whole slab out?
We're taking the whole slab out, yeah.
So are you going to get any more height then with the slab that
We'll,
you put back in?
we'll see once we kind of lift it out. I mean, it would be nice to get more height, but it also depends on what engineering allows us to do, right? But I mean, we do also have all the plug-in parking outside, so if the guy owns or person owns a big pickup truck.
Carl, what's with all these like openings down here? Right?
This is how they used to ventilate down here, right? So
Okay, so then it's just to allow ventilation.
yeah, and that's all it was. So we're looking at closing everything off
Yeah.
and putting our filtration system on either end, so it's just a continuous, and turning it into a heated underground parking.
Well,
So
it would be actually kind of neat because it's there, like depending on, but you could actually like if you put like a roof, you could almost like depending on how you did it, rent those stalls out for a lot more because they have like storage, right? Because it's
that's actually a cool idea. I mean, we have to build them out in concrete and roof them off. Right now, It's literally a hazard back there, as all they did was throw stuff on. Half of it's rotting.
I just wasn't sure. I was like, what the hell's even going on? But that's what it is there.
But yeah, the game plan is to seal them all off, take out this, put radiant heat in. We're closing off the garage front here and closing that off so that won't exist anymore. It's just one access in and out.
Oh, there's another one on the other end.
Yeah, on that end there's one. So we're gonna re-ramp that one so it's not so steep. Put radiant heat inside the parquet line. Do all that and then close that one off.
Are you guys gonna do the concrete yourself with your crews?
We'll likely prep it and let somebody else pour it. This is a big enough slab that I wouldn't even want to try and tackle it. My guys don't have enough. We have the equipment to do it all, but not enough knowledge to take on something this big. So we'd have to break it off in chunks, and I'd rather just have one big company come in and do it all and be done with it.
How big is this floor print, like blueprint?
I honestly can't remember off the top of my head. It's 80 wide by 285.
Yeah, this will be a tough pour for any one company.
Yeah.
They would still probably do it
In two, which I'm fine with too, because right here we're going to take this all the way down to H, and we're closing that off. So this is all going to be storage compounds. So then we can pour this in one slab, and then we're kind of broken. And even if they do it in two slabs here, then it's more manageable, right? So.
Hey, thank you for watching our show, the 27-unit Masterclass. In the new year, we are going to have a couple great events. One of the ones that I'm looking forward to is Battle of the Banks. We're going to get one person from every bank, get them on stage and go, okay, what is different about you guys? And then get them to do survivor challenges in between their talks. It's going to be pretty fun. If you want more free education, every day I post free real estate investment education on my social media. I'm on all platforms. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.